And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Movie Pit Podcast. Obviously, shitty audio, because I have a guest, because I only do bring out the shitty audio when I have a guest. No, I was going to test something out, and I didn't do it, because I don't know how to do it. But, hello, welcome. This is, obviously, as you can tell, the Comic-Con special podcast. We're going to run down some of the bigger news items that came out of Comic-Con. So we're going to talk about trailers that dropped. We're going to talk about just a few of the panels, because it would be ridiculous if I talked about all the panels, because that's just too much. And yeah, so we're going to talk about that. And I'm going to let my guest introduce himself.
Hey everyone, my name's Julian. Nice to meet you all, sort of.
Yeah. Julian and I have been good friends for a long time. I'm not going to say how long, because I already feel old.
It's been that long.
It's been that long. So we're going to jump right into stuff. We're going to talk about trailers first. The first trailer we're going to talk about is the Lego Ninjago movie trailer, which I didn't show you before. So that's my fault. That's a good trailer. So it has nothing to do with the TV show. So there's a TV show. If you didn't know there's a TV show, there was a TV show. Or there's a TV show. And one of the producers came out and said that you don't have to watch the TV series to get the movie because they're two separate things, which is nice. He also mentioned there are real water, real trees, and other real-world elements in the movie, including the villain, one of the bigger villains, which is Meowthra, which is a real-life cat.
That should be interesting.
I lost my shit when I saw the cat in the trailer.
I thought I only saw screenshots of the Lego Ninjago. Yeah, I thought it was a game at first.
I think they made a game. So there's parts of that. Jackie Chan, who voices one of the characters in the movie, actually choreographed some of the fight scenes with his stunt team, and the animators used footage from the stunts to create action scenes, sometimes shot for shot, so that's going to be pretty cool. The film is not connected to the other Lego movies like the Lego Batman or the Lego Batman movie, but it is instead in its own world, which is okay, I guess. The Lego Ninjago movie comes out September 22nd, so you can guys go watch that. Trailer will be down below, of course, in the description/show notes area. The next trailer was the Ready Player One, which is an adaptation of the Ernest Cline best-selling novel of the same name. The film is directed by Steven Spielberg and follows the same story from the novel. For those of you not familiar with the novel, it takes place in the future, where the world is on the brink of chaos and collapses. During it, Wade Watts, played by Ty Sheridan, aka Young Cyclops from the new X-Men movies, he decides to join a worldwide contest to find a literal Easter egg hidden in the Oasis, an expansive virtual reality in which most people now spend their time. Whoever finds the Easter egg gains control of the Oasis. However, a nefarious corporation is also out to find the egg. We just saw the trailer. I mean, well, I've seen it a bunch of times already, but you just saw it for the first time before we started recording.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I heard good stuff about the trailer on social media. I didn't get around to seeing it, but I didn't know about the book prior. I'm definitely gonna check it out. The
book's great.
Just from the look of the movie, I can imagine the book is real good. It uses the virtual reality premise. So if you're into that kind of stuff, like maybe Sword Art Online, and I don't know, nothing else comes to mind at the moment, but it's just something you should check out. It's the videos are pretty good, and it's just the idea of this future where you can't really progress as a society more, so an entire generation is going to the virtual frontier. It's definitely something that's eye-catching. I definitely want to see this.
Yeah, I read the book, I think it was sometime last year. No, it would have been before that. But I read it, and I was really blown away by it, because it is one of those movies, like if you're a nerd, you're especially if you're a nerd for like 80s culture, you're going to appreciate the book, because there's a bunch of 80s references in there. And the trailer, I was very surprised with the trailer, because I didn't think they would show this much. There's that big ass, which I don't remember being in the movie, but I guess, or in the book I should say, the big chase scene, the big car scene that's in the trailer that ends it. which there's a bunch of references in the whole trailer. You see the Iron Giant at one point.
I was about to say I saw the Iron Giant, and I think I saw a Ninja Turtle.
I'm sure there's probably a Ninja Turtle in there, but yeah, the Iron Giant. They did come out and say that the Iron Giant will play a big role in the movie. Steven Spielberg said that, so if he says it, then. Freddy Krueger's in there. He gets blown away at one point.
Yeah, I knew. I swore I saw him because I recognized the silhouette of the head and the claws. I just wasn't sure.
When I saw the trailer for the first time, I saw Freddy Krueger. I was like, "What the fuck?" And then it gets blown up, and I'm like, "No!" So he's there. They do play a variation of the Willy Wonka song, "The Pure Imagination." It's a song that plays throughout the whole trailer. What else is in there? Because obviously since the trailer popped out, everyone's been trying to find Easter eggs. The DeLorean's in there. From Back to the Future. The Akira bike from the manga's in there, but it looks like they repurposed it also as a Tron light cycle.
Yeah, I thought it was a Tron cycle.
They gave it's a Tron light cycle, but they gave it the Akira kind of red color. If you look very closely, because again, people have been trying to find Easter eggs like crazy. When Wade first enters the Oasis, you see him pass two characters. Those are Harley Quinn and Deathstroke. Because in the Oasis, I don't want to get too much away from the book because if people want to read it. But in the Oasis, you can become anybody you want. You can change yourself in any sort of way. You see, there was an orc character in the trailer at some point, and again, you can become Freddy Krueger or Harley Quinn and Deathstroke.
Your imagination is the Oasis, or it powers it.
Yeah, pretty much. That's kind of what it is. Cool. You also see apparently Lara Croft next to Christine, based off the Stephen King Christine, in the upper right corner when the race is about to start as well. And there's a bunch of other Easter eggs in there, but obviously if you haven't read the book yet, I do recommend it. I don't want to give too much away because obviously I don't want to ruin it for you guys, and this is just the first trailer, so.
I can't wait to see the TV Tropes page for all the Easter eggs.
Oh, they're everywhere. I guarantee they're everywhere by now.
It's gonna be good.
Ready Player One opens next year, I should say, not later this year. Next year on March 30th. So we'll obviously talk about that more when we get to it. All right, so let's talk about the two biggest trailers that probably broke the internet because they were released the same day. First one we're going to talk about is Justice League. It's not considered a trailer, it's considered a Comic-Con sneak peek.
What did you do this weekend, Diana?
Me? Nothing very interesting.
The world remains in mourning after the death of the Superman.
And where is the Gotham Bat? The mass vigilante has been a no-show.
They said the age of heroes would never come again.
It has to. We don't have any more time.
Something is coming.
No protectors here. No lanterns. No Kryptonian. This world will fall. Like all the others.
One misses the days when one's biggest concerns were exploding wind-up penguins.
This is crazy. Honestly, I think we're all gonna die.
Each of us, in some way, is held back.
Don't engage alone. We'll do this together.
It's really cool. You guys seem ready to do battle and stuff, but I've never done battle. I've just pushed some people and run away.
Relax, Alfred. I'll take it from here.
Do I know you?
Superman was a beacon to the world. He didn't just save people. He made them see the best parts of themselves.
All right.
I don't recognize this world.
We don't have to recognize him. We just have to save it.
How many of you are there?
Not enough.
Do you really think that...
Oh, wow, they really just vanish. Huh? Oh, that's rude.
You said you'd come. Now let's hope you're not too late.
4-minute trailer. It's long, so that's why they call it a sneak peek. But even those 4 minutes, it's still pretty damn good. And in non-typical DCEU fashion, they don't show too much. Can't talk now. We do see the villain, which is Steppenwolf, voiced by Ciarán Hinds from Game of Thrones and any other nerdy thing you can think of. He's everywhere. You can hear his voice. Of course, he does say there's no Kryptons, there's no protectors, and of course, more importantly, he says no lanterns. So there's that. We get to see the Justice League work together, like the little tidbit of the Flash pushing Wonder Woman's sword closer to her. Cyborg basically hijacking the Nightcrawler. I think that's what it is, what they call it. And of course, that little quip he has with Alfred. And of course, at the very end, we get the tease. I'm jumping over a bunch of stuff because we're going to go more into discussion. But there's the tease at the end, which also a nice little Jurassic Park homage with the shaky water. But we don't know who Alfred's talking to. Now everyone assumes it's Superman because obviously it's a Justice League movie. You can't have a Justice League movie without Superman. But people have been noticing that there has been a green light reflecting off Alfred's glasses, and that, of course, green light always refers to or is connected to the Green Lanterns. We do know the Green Lanterns will play a role in the movie. However, it won't be Hal Jordan or John Stewart, but it could be someone else within the Green Lantern Corps from early reports. So just wanted to mention that. What did we think of the sneak peek trailer? Let's call it trailer. Fuck sneak peek trailer.
Overall, I'm cautiously optimistic just because of DC's track record with the films. It's unfortunately not as successful as people want it to be. Man of Steel.
Except Wonder Woman.
Oh yeah, Wonder Woman.
Wonder Woman was good.
Yeah, I haven't been able to see it, but I wanted
You haven't seen Wonder Woman? Get the fuck out of my house.
I've been busy with work at school. Anyway, when I found out Wonder Woman was performing really well, I was genuinely happy because one, it's about time DC has a good movie that's. We're going back to what I was saying. Man of Steel, it wasn't a terrible movie. It was definitely.
It was okay.
It was okay. And like on its own, it was a good Superman movie. As a jumping points to the expanded DC film universe, or however they call it, they could have done it a little better, or they could have been more patient. Like they jumped straight to Batman vs Superman, and the animated fight between Batman and Superman and the Dark Knight Returns, it had a more emotional way because the characters had history. In Batman vs Superman, the live action film, it was just two strangers beating each other up, or not even beating each other up. Like Batman would use some guns or something, Superman would push, shove him. The fight wasn't really much of a fight, it was just like a pushing contest. And the structure of the film it would have been better if they gone to a solo Batman film, then Wonder Woman, then leading it to Batman vs Superman. That way the characters have enough history on their own so that when they come together, it has a bigger emotional impact. That's why Captain America Civil War was a bigger success, because the characters had a ton of history that had been built up to that point. So when Iron Man and Cap fight each other, you can't blame them for their reasons, and at the same time, It's very dramatic.
Stop fighting.
Yeah.
Stop fighting each other.
Yeah. So that being said, Suicide Squad. It's.
Just kids can't hear that.
I remember reading a comment that said that it's like they tried to imitate Guardians of the Galaxy's approach to humor and 80s music and whatnot.
Yeah.
It's it wasn't a very good film in my opinion. It's which was pretty bad because the way they hyped it up was it looked like it would have been a really good movie. So side note, if you want to see a good Suicide Squad movie, check out the animated one. I think it was just called Assault on Arkham.
Yeah,
that one was
good. That was good.
That they should have followed that approach and used some of the characters there because like Slipknot and there's one other guy, I don't recall his name. But some of the characters they chose for the live action film were kind of.
Slipknot doesn't even count. He just shows like, yeah, I'm Slipknot.
Yeah.
That's it. He's done.
They wasn't really anything noteworthy about them, or they didn't do anything to make them noteworthy. Whereas in the animated film, you have Killer Frost, King Shark, and Harley Quinn, Joker, Deadshot, Black Spider. Even though I think he was called Black Spider. He's an assassin, but even though Batman's universe has a ton of assassins, he stood out on his own because he's kind of like Dexter. He's a killer who kills other killers. Yeah, that's the best way to put it. So with Man of Steel being alright, Batman vs Superman being kind of
it sucks. Just say it sucks. For me, I've talked about Batman vs Superman on the podcast before, and it wasn't good. It was good until it wasn't.
It's cool if you just want to see a film with Batman and Superman and together, which hasn't been done before. Beyond that, it doesn't offer much. Wonder Woman was definitely a highlight in the film because we finally get to see Wonder Woman in live action for the first time.
She was in it for like 10 minutes total, and she stole the whole movie.
Yeah, what I find kind of embarrassing in a way. If you ever seen Superman Doomsday or The Death of Superman, I'm terrible with names, but the animated film of Superman's fight with Doomsday, it's a really good fight because it goes on for a while. Like Superman goes back and forth with Doomsday and he holds his ground, but then at some point in the fight you see he's starting to get tired and then Doomsday has the upper hand. He does more fighting in the animated film, and in Batman vs Superman he tackles Doomsday once, punches him a couple times in space, has a nuke blow up on him, and then if you pay attention to the fight where Wonder Woman participates, she does. It's her fights, even though it's supposed to be a team effort.
She cuts his hand off and then holds him down.
She doesn't really back down. The only time she is out of the fight is when Doomsday blasts her point blank after taking away her shield.
Yeah.
But throughout that whole fight, the only thing Superman did was charge at him, get knocked to the side. That was really disappointing because you want to see these characters, right, there's a reason they're being put together. You want to see them interact certain ways, but it didn't really pay off. So with, again, Man of Steel being alright, Batman vs Superman being or as you said, it sucked. Suicide Squad being dismissible, is the way I could put it. I mean, it serves its role in the DC universe, the film universe, but I still say it's dismissible. So with all these films, not having a good track record, Wonder Woman comes along. And again, I'm so glad it did good because one, it's about time DC has a really good film. I would say Wonder Woman, from a little I've seen, because I haven't seen the movie, I just seen bits of it, and from what I read online about it, it's better than Man of Steel, so that's a real good sign.
It's the best. I mean, saying it's the best DC movie isn't saying a lot because they haven't done anything really good. I mean, I enjoyed Man of Steel
because they're rushing the DC universe to catch up to Marvel's success, which is
a wrong move on their part, and I think they're starting to realize that. So
again, they could have done it. They're going about it. The way they're going about it isn't bad. It's just the execution. Like, Marvel has a head start and they want to catch up, but they're rushing this a little too much. Like, I think they could have done this better if Batman vs Superman had been structured differently, to the point where they didn't require a solo Batman and Wonder Woman film prior to that, I think their approach to their film universe wouldn't have been so bad. But again, it's turning out bad because they're rushing it. It's not coming out so good. And then, again, Wonder Woman comes out, it's done superb, which is good for the reason I mentioned, and also because it stars a female lead, which is something that you haven't seen comic films do so much. I think
not successfully.
Yeah, not successfully. I think.
I'm looking at you, Elektra, Catwoman, piece of shit.
Maybe there's some comic films that we don't know about, but I don't know. All I know is that in regards to Marvel and DC being the big names in the comic industry making films, DC did a real good job with Wonder Woman, because if it had failed, I guarantee you it would have been a lot of backlash in regards to, people interpreting it as a female hero can't carry a film. So I'm glad the film did really good, and also they have a head start with Marvel on it. I mean, Marvel hasn't had a solo female hero. I mean, they're coming out with Captain Marvel, but that's still some time away. So at the very least, they have that to hold against Marvel.
I was gonna say that one of the reasons we haven't had a Wonder Woman movie for so long is because, and I remember reading this and I thought it was stupid. That someone, one of the executives, I think it was back then or something, that said that a Wonder Woman movie wouldn't work. And I thought, when I read that, I was like, that's like so dumb. Why would you, like, look? And now looking back, I hope that person's looking at it, I was like, damn. Like you could have worked, like you could have done that movie so well, and you could have started a trend. But yeah.
No, I remember reading up on the Wonder Woman TV show that was supposed to come out, so it didn't quite pan out. That kind of sucks, because it again, you see something, nobody makes something and sets out to fail. It just happens.
Yeah, like you're not. Yeah.
It kind of sucks. Like with the trouble they had with the Wonder Woman TV show was just getting the costume that was believable. Which they got to a point where it was believable, but I guess it's still.
Well, they gave her the pants,
blue pants,
like that they did in the comics, and then it just looked weird.
Yeah, and speaking about that, executive, whoever said Wonder Woman wouldn't be a good film, I remember.
Or wouldn't sell. That's what.
Or wouldn't sell. Yeah. It kind of reminds me of what had been going on with Marvel for so long up until recently with some guy who's, even though he's in an important position or was in an important position with Marvel, he was, I guess, so unimportant that you can't even find a picture of the guy. But
Marvel erased him from the timeline.
Yeah, Kevin Feige would always bump heads with him because Kevin Feige is very passionate about these characters. So, and it shows. He's one of the reasons this film universe is so successful. The reason Spider-Man has finally gotten an accurate enough portrayal that people really love it. And this executive, he would just make it difficult. Like he was one of the reasons that at one point Robert Downey Jr. was going to leave, or he wanted Robert Downey Jr. gone because he was getting paid too much, and he was one of the reasons that he didn't see a solo Black Widow film as something that was a
I think I know what you're talking about. It's the guy. Ironically enough, it's the guy that runs now Marvel TV, and I can't think of his name.
He's he's also one of the reasons that Marvel and Fox have been struggling to mend the relationship in regards to the film rights to the X-Men and other characters. Like Kevin Feige and others have been trying to build a bridge, because they're not going to get the film rights to the characters, at least not for years. So they want to work something out, like something similar to Spider-Man. And this guy would just make it more difficult. And is also the reason why.
I can't remember his name. It's pissing me off.
But you know what I'm talking about.
I know what you're talking about, because he runs Marvel TV, and everyone who has met him is like, yeah, that guy's a piece of crap. Like, no one likes him.
He's also the reason why the TV universe for Marvel.
They don't connect.
Started out
because him and
they were supposed to, but he doesn't want. He's not letting the characters cross over. Like which is really disappointing, because you see, I've seen a bit of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. and you want the characters to show up in some kind of cameo, or like even like Marvel's like the Defenders, any other characters that show up on the silver screen with the other characters.
On the big screen, at least like a cameo or something like that.
Or a mention or something, because these universes are supposed to be connected. Like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. take place in the same universe as the Avengers, and you see in the show there's references to events in the movies like Age of Ultron and Civil War, but
Winter Soldier, especially with the whole Hydra thing. Like that was a big factor in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah,
that season.
and they can't do much with it, which is kind of bad because these are good characters, and well, they're important Marvel characters like Ghost Rider. He can't, as cool as a job they've done in bringing him to life on a Netflix show or on TV, they can't bring him into. They just can't bring him into these films. Which would have been cool to see. It would have been cool to see Quake, Daisy Johnson, in Civil War. Even if just for a little bit, I think they would have been able to do more.
Like have her in the background or something, like on a TV or something.
Yeah, or have her even participate in the airport battle with the others. With about as much time as maybe even Spider-Man, that would have been enough. Or
just like a mention, or at least like especially in Spider-Man because it takes place in New York. It's like at least like a mention, like that guy over in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Like you don't have to say Daredevil. You can just say the guy over there in Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah, because it's getting to their universe getting to the point where.
If
Tony Stark can track down Spider-Man when he's trying to be...
he knows about the Defenders.
Yeah, how can... It's gotta... They have to know about it. They have to at some point, acknowledge it. Okay, they have to know that, there's gonna be a spoiler for a lot of people, but,
Spoiler!
Phil Coulson is not dead anymore. He's alive. He's been...
If you didn't know that, I don't know why you're listening to my podcast.
Yeah,
you're living under a rock.
Yeah,
sir or ma'am.
If Stark can locate Spider-Man, he has to know about Phil and the agents. He has to know about what's going on with Hell's Kitchen. Spider-Man and Daredevil have to know about each other back and forth. So it's like they have to cross paths off screen. Or they're likely crossing paths off screen. So they have to know something about each other. Like Spider-Man was in YouTube. Daredevil and Punisher were kind of behind the scenes, but some of the stuff they did was it got the attention of the city.
Yeah.
So with all these going on, the Avengers
especially Punisher.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Like you don't think he's gonna be hunting down Spider-Man? Like that guy that swings on walls. Like I want to take him down.
Yeah, Punisher's about as subtle as a grenade.
Yeah. I mean you can't. Yeah. I mean I agree with you, and I think everyone agrees with you, and I agree with you.
And then with one thing I want to touch upon with upcoming Infinity War, this is something that's on a galactic scale.
Yeah.
The Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Defenders, all of them, they have to be doing something. And if they don't, if the Avengers and the characters in the film universe don't know about all these other TV show characters that before, they have to know about them at this point in Infinity War because it's an end of the world kind of crisis. They're going to be involved, trying to save people or trying to fight back. So they weren't in a spotlight before. They definitely have to be with Thanos coming. It just, again, it sucks that they can't participate in some form. I just hope there's some kind of a offhand reference, like maybe, I don't know, Stark's...
there's some people helping out over
or maybe,
Brooklyn
or maybe the camera's panning over a TV and showing the news and you see Ghost Rider, like for a split second, just running over aliens or whatever.
You know how many nerds would explode that? No, I agree with you. Yeah, I mean, it is ridiculous, and I can't believe I can't remember the guy's name because I would totally bash him out again. But no, I know what you're talking about, and it does suck because it gets to the point where it's like it's different when it's like the X-Men series because the film rights are with Fox, but when you are connected within this world, it is a pain in the ass to think it's like, oh, you can't mention, like it's infuriating because it's like you've mentioned you've mentioned stuff in the early seasons of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. about the Avengers. Like there's been aftermath episodes on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. from Thor, from the Avengers, from the Captain America movies, and that's it. That's the only reference you get from those movies. And then Daredevil, they have the Battle of New York posters like in the background in people's offices, and Jessica Jones, they mention the green guy. It's like they go out of their way to be like, nah, you guys are your own thing.
Yeah.
Even though we're in this same little world.
Yeah.
But in Infinity War, that's too big an event to be like for the next seasons of the Netflix series, you have to mention it. Because if you don't mention it, then it's like it's just a big middle finger to the fans.
They have to show it's something that important. They have to show I don't know, maybe some kind of a web article of the Avengers doing a thing.
What's her face? Karen. She has a blog now on Daredevil. So it's like you can mention that or just something. Just something.
Yeah. And then with the upcoming an Inhumans film.
Oh god.
And Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has Inhumans for the first 2 seasons of being heavily involved. They have to start bringing them over there. Marvel has to do away with this guy. He's just making it difficult for.
Even if they don't do away with him, it's like just take him out of the equation.
Send him on
Don't kill him. Just move him over and be like, we're bringing in someone else to help you, and then overlook what nameless man for the moment, so I don't remember his name, and to have this new guy and be like, no, this is what we're doing.
Because it's like Smash Brothers. It's like if Nintendo were making a Smash Brothers game, but they didn't have the permission to use all the characters. Like you could bring in Mario, but you can't use Luigi because he's got his own game.
No, we're talking about Justice League. We didn't even talk about Thor. we went into this whole different tangent. We were talking about Justice League, and then we went into Marvel, which is fine. It doesn't matter.
I'm big on Marvel.
Yeah, doesn't matter. I mean, so final thoughts for me on Justice League. It's a good trailer, but like you said at the very beginning, before I went on this tangent, I'm optimistic. I'm cautiously optimistic because of what we've seen so far. Justice League, for me, I've said this multiple times on the podcast. I say it every time we talk about something about the DCEU. Mm-hmm. It has to be good. It can't be okay. It can't be all right. It has to be good, because if it's not good, you're going to lose every fan that you have.
Yeah, they've been
and people are already starting to lose faith in the DCEU. And it doesn't matter if it's like, oh, well, Justice League wasn't good, but at least we have Wonder Woman. No, that is not how it works. Like, you can't have Wonder Woman and then be like, oh, we have Justice League and it's not that good, but we still have Wonder Woman. You guys can remember Wonder Woman. No, that's not how it works.
Especially, it would be like if Marvel, up until Infinity War, their only good movie was Iron Man 2, and then Infinity War flops. Like,
that's a long time.
Yeah, but I mean, they're putting.
But I get what you
This is their end goal, and they're putting what they're putting their effort into, and for better and for worse, people want to see it through. So if the payoff in the end isn't as successful, yeah, people are going to lose faith. They're already losing faith. Yeah. So they're going to just, at this point, they may lose interest altogether.
Yeah. So Justice League comes out November 17th. Since we're talking about Marvel, let's go to the Thor Ragnarok trailer.
Ooh,
it's gonna be good.
So much has happened since I last saw you. I lost my hammer, like yesterday, so that's still pretty fresh. And then I went on a journey of self-discovery, where I met you. Where are we? You have no idea. Hela, the goddess of death, has invaded Asgard.
Oh, I've missed this.
And you and I had a fight recently.
Did I win?
No, I won, easily.
Doesn't sound right.
Well, it's true.
Asgard is dead. And it'll be reborn in my image. I thought you'd be glad to see me.
We need to stop her here and now. To prevent Ragnarok, the end of everything. So I'm putting together a team. Like the old days.
Surprise! This will be such fun.
Hello.
Hi.
He's a fighter.
Here we go! I'm not a queen or a monster. I'm the goddess of death. What were you the god of again?
We're the same, you and I. Just a couple of hot-headed fools.
Yeah, same. Hulk like fire, Thor like water.
Well, kind of both like fire.
But Hulk like raging fire, Thor like smoldering fire.
So the official synopsis: Asgard is threatened, but Thor, of course played by Chris Hemsworth, is in prison on the other side of the universe without his hammer, and to escape, to save his home world, he must fight his former ally and fellow Avenger, The Incredible Hulk. The trailer shows a lot more off of Hela, played by Jesus Christ, Kate Blanchett. There's a lot more humor in there. There's a lot more action. We see more of Valkyrie. We see Thor, and literally, he's basically Raiden in that one shot.
Oh, yeah, I'm wondering what's happening in that scene.
And then there's the payoff shot at the end with Hulk, who talks now against Sator. Didn't they say his name? The big demon guy, the big fiery guy, and yeah. So that's brief little tidbits I wanted to mention. The movie opens on November 3rd. I glanced over a lot of the trailer, but obviously, what did you think?
This is probably
besides it being good, because obviously it's awesome. I saw it like 10 times already.
Yeah, I thought the Thor movies were probably one of the weaker installments in the MCU, just because they're really grounded towards Earth, and you're dealing with characters that are interpreted as gods and galactic events, but mostly takes place on Earth with a couple of scientists, and the development in Thor's journeys aren't as big or as impactful as something like Iron Man or Cap's journeys. So I always thought they weren't bad films. They were just the weaker of the films in the entire MCU. So Thor Ragnarok, I have to say, is looking much more impressive. I like how on one hand it kind of sucks he doesn't have his human friends, but I like how this is 100% all about what's going on in outer space. Thor is out there, and this is dealing with characters that are from Thor's history that we haven't seen yet. I remember Hela was a big deal. She's a very important character, and a lot of people are glad that she's being brought into the picture.
She looks fucking awesome.
Yeah, she looks real. She's
with her horns and everything, and it looks like it's kind of organic. She has that moment where she's like puts her hands over her, like just her body, and it's just like growing. I thought that was so cool.
Yeah, they definitely got the appearance right. I'm liking Hulk's development because they haven't been able to do much with Hulk, or haven't done much. He's been, as they described him, a wild card where he's Bruce Banner. You never know if he's going to go Hulk out, and at that point he's just like a werewolf where he'll attack whatever he's directed at, even his own friends. So to see him be in control, or in better control in Hulk form, and to the point where he can speak and be calm, that's a good sign of development for him, because it's also a good way to bring in a different portrayal of Hulk, because comic history, there's different versions of characters. Like Hulk is usually the mindless beast that he always is. Sometimes he can kind of talk and he's somewhat tactical. Other times he's just Bruce Banner in Hulk body. So it's good to see him portrayed in a new light now, where you see what Bruce Banner is going through. And I'm just curious how he ended up in whatever planet he's on.
It's called Sakaar.
Yeah, Sakaar.
Sakaar. So there's been some stuff obviously coming out. And just jump a little bit over here. Mm-hmm. Actually, no, I'm gonna jump because I remember, because I'm a nerd. So he's been on there for at least, from what this little news bit came out, at least for 2 years, because he's been Hulk for 2 years. So he hasn't gone back to Bruce Banner, because apparently Hulk doesn't want to go back to being Bruce Banner. Although we do see him as Bruce Banner in the trailer, mm-hmm. But he's been Hulk for 2 years, which is, I guess, the reason why he's been able to talk, because there's now equal partnership between him and Bruce Banner when they're together. So that's why he's able to speak. Not well, but he's able to speak, which is a very funny bit in the trailer, which I really love.
Pretty snappy.
You're like smoldering fire.
The voice is kind of weird.
It's very it's almost like a combination of Mark Ruffalo's voice and Lou Ferrigno's voice.
Yeah, because the Incredible Hulk film, the first MCU Hulk film, or the only one, it was just straight up voiced by Lou Ferrigno.
Yeah.
Then there's a little voice line in Avengers. It's Mark Ruffalo, but with like,
it was just very deep,
very kind of mechanical, not mechanical, just robotic in a way. And the way it sounds in the trailer for Ragnarok, you can definitely notice it's Mark Ruffalo, but it doesn't sound as artificial as it did in Avengers. Mm-hmm. So It was a little weird to hear.
I was very taken back. I was like, oh, okay, they're gonna make him talk now. That's cool. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's a good trailer. I mean, it's awesome. It's a great trailer. I love the little moments there. I especially love the moment where they're in the ship. It's like, oh, we had a fight recently. It's like, did I win? No, I won. I won easily. It's like, that doesn't sound right. Well, that happens. Which goes to, I'll jump around again to another news item from the Marvel panel, or from after the Marvel panel, that director Taika Waititi, yes, Taika Waititi, he said that the Thor was 80% improvised, which is crazy.
That is pretty crazy.
And then he made a little joke that Mark Ruffalo told him, why haven't we been fired yet? So, kind of cool. Alright, so that's all the trailers that we talked about, or that we're going to talk about. So again, if you haven't seen them or just want to watch them again, down below in the description / show notes area, if you want to go watch that. We're going to speed past some of these news items. So the first one is there's a new Spawn movie being made. Blumhouse Productions, which would been doing all the hit horror movies recently, like the Purge movies, Insidious, Get Out, Split. They will be producing the Spawn movie. Todd McFarlane will be writing and directing the film. He's been talking about doing a Spawn film for a very long time. The last one was 20 years ago. Yes, 20 years ago. If you need another reason to feel old. 20 years ago.
Oh, gosh.
So Blumhouse Production will produce the film, and they're known for their low budgets anyway. They're known for doing their budgets for $10 to $12 million. So this will definitely be a low budget film. McFarlane himself said that he wanted a low budget movie anyway, and there was gonna be plenty of practical special effects, which means very little CG.
That should be good.
Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
And what else? And that's kind of it on that news front. For those of you guys that don't know, Spawn, ex-Marine, ex-soldier. I think sometimes they change up who he is. But he's an ex-soldier, and he gets betrayed and double-crossed, and he goes to hell to make a deal with a demon. I think he wrote it down, but I'm not going to try to find it. But he makes a deal with the demon to see his wife again. So when he goes back to Earth, it's actually been like 5 years or something ridiculous like that, and she's moved on, and she's married his best friend. They have a kid. But he finds out that he's actually a hell spawn, or just Spawn. And he goes around fighting demonic creatures and thugs and mobsters, and the big evil clown that was played by John Leguizamo in the first film.
You should definitely check out the Spawn film, the original, or the one that came out years ago.
20 years ago.
20 years ago.
I want you to make it feel old as old as I felt when I read that.
Yeah, if not to see the film itself, just to see the practical effects.
Some of the practical effects were really good.
Yeah, that's why. If this director you mentioned is going on a low budget, he's gonna have to manage what budget he gets. But I'll see what he can pull off.
I mean, Tom McFarlane's never directed a movie before. This will be his directorial debut. And one of the reasons I'm skeptical about a Spawn movie, especially with McFarlane directing, is because McFarlane has been hindering his own movie, because he has said in the past that he wants to control the movie himself because he doesn't want to sell the property of Spawn. So he wanted to write, direct, produce the movie all on his own, which a studio will never get a first-time director unless he's really, 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 really good. And McFarlane has never directed anything, so I like his approach that he wants to do it, because obviously this is his baby and this is something that he's created and controlled. But at the same time, it's like, settle
He's
down.
not in any position.
Yeah, you're not in any position to be like, oh, hey, I want this, and it doesn't matter if I want a new Spawn movie. I'll be like, you haven't directed anything, go away.
Yeah, maybe you can do it, maybe not, but you have to prove it. But I do see why I would do that. I mean, you wouldn't want another World War Z in regards to how faithful it is to the source material. Like, you read the book, damn good. You see the film, not bad, but
very little based off the book.
Yeah, it's
almost like the movie is a prequel to the book.
There's no cause spoilers. World War Z, the book, it chronicles I guess you could call it a zombie era, where before the whatever the virus is, nobody knew what it was. I think it was called Selenium in the other book. The zombie survivor got described. Yeah, Selenium. The book covers events leading up to the zombie outbreak. Afterwards, the years of the entire world being overtaken by the dead and people surviving. and then humanity bouncing back and finally, recovering from all of this. And then you see the film. The film is kind of a typical zombie movie in a way that it covers the events leading up to the outbreak, the events during, but afterwards, that's when it goes its own way. And there's a lot of events, characters that aren't mentioned from the book. It's like, it's an adaptation that's not faithful to the book. On its own, it's not bad. It's if you're looking for just a good zombie entertainment film, go watch it. But if you want to see the movie version of World War Z, it's not something for you. You just go ahead and read the book. So that's it. With having said that, that's why I can see why the creator of Spawn wants to be in control of the film, because he wants it to be faithful, and this is something he created. So I can understand. I can see why he would do that. This would be a good idea. I mean, this would be a good thing if he had any experience under his belt as a director, because he might not be the guy for the job.
We'll see. There's no word on production, but the script is done because McFarlane has written it, so there's that. Let's just skip right to the DCEU panel, because why not? So they show the first footage of Aquaman, which wasn't a lot. It basically was a little teaser. They're still filming at the moment. It basically the footage was there was these two fishermen, and one of them catches something who thinks it's something like a big haul, and then he gets hurled into the water, and there's a whole army underneath the ocean. And I'm not kidding, the description read that we see people riding sharks. Yes, riding sharks.
Freaking sharks.
Then it cuts to Aquaman talking to someone off camera before pulling out his sword, and it looks like they're going to do this whole little fight. MOBA did mention that the army we see in the movie is Ocean Masters, which is his brother in the comics, and played by Patrick Wilson, aka Night Owl from Watchmen, who is fighting his brother in the movie. So at least we know one person that Aquaman is fighting within the film. So they show that. The Flash movie is being retooled as an adaptation of Flashpoint, which is a very popular arc from the comics. For those of you guys that don't read comics or just don't know the Flashpoint story, they did do it on the TV show, so if you watch the TV show, you probably have an idea what it is.
It's probably the most important, or it's like one of the biggest events in DC Comics.
Yeah, not just Flash Comics, DC Comics, because it's basically, for those of you guys that don't know, it's a reset button, pretty much.
Yeah, comics
Flash
all the time.
goes back in time to save his mother from being killed, at least in this little version of the story, and when he goes back to not do that anymore, everything is all screwed up. There's characters who were good guys that are now bad guys. There's characters who were bad guys that are not good guys. There are people who never became superheroes or anything like that. A little example: Bruce Wayne doesn't become Batman because his father becomes Batman, and he becomes a very
it's like
lethal, put it that way, lethal Batman.
He's like a middle-aged, very little combat experience version of the Punisher in a Batman costume.
Yeah.
The more interesting.
That's actually a good way to put it. Yeah.
My favorite change from the Flashpoint paradox is Superman. We know Superman is he's Superman, but in the Flashpoint paradox, when the Flash messes up the timelines and whatnot, Superman in that messed up universe, when he shows up on Earth, he gets taken in by the government and just experimented on for years. They show him as it's like a frightened, underdeveloped kid, and he's very skinny too, because he's never been exposed to the sun, and that's a big moment for him when these messed up Justice League managed to get him rescue him from the government. So there's a whole bunch of stuff that changes. It's I'm curious to see what they're gonna work with in the films. Like, because in the comics, they had a bunch of stuff that they reworked. The animated films, which is really good. I recommend you check them out. The TV show, they did their own thing. So,
very different.
Yeah, very different.
It captures the essence of what.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see how they're gonna use the Flashpoint events and the DC film universe.
I'm interested only because I don't think Flashpoint's the way to go, at least this early.
It could be a quasi reboot, like for them. Like, it might be a good thing, like how Days of Future Past did it for the X-Men films.
And that's kind of what people are speculating. It's like, okay, it's like if they want to hit a reset, they want to change some stuff from the movies that have already been done before. And of course, there's the people out there who still don't like Zack Snyder. They're like, oh, this is a good way to redo everything that Zack Snyder has ever done. Because there's people out there that think like that.
He's gonna go back in time and get rid of the shaky cam.
He's gonna go back in time and do that. He's gonna go back in time and add color to the world. Which I don't care about that. But yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's an interesting concept, but at the same time, it's like, yeah, I want to see how they do it.
I'm guessing they're just gonna use this event to bring back Superman to life in this universe.
Maybe he's already alive and just like, we don't know.
Maybe, but yeah, it's like they're using such a big event so early. It's like bringing out Charizard in the beginning of a fight.
Yeah, it's like,
you don't want to start out with your best right away.
So we'll see what happens with that. It raises more questions than it does curiosity, especially considering the state of the DCEU.
Yeah, hoping it turns out good. I want them to be successful.
Hope it turns out. I want them to find a director. That's what I want. Because
they haven't found a director yet?
No.
Jeez.
This is and everyone who listens to this podcast knows I've bashed the DCEU for not being able to find a director for the Flash, because it's dumb that they haven't been able to find a director yet.
Just get to some of the people from CW.
But no, that would be using your head and logic, and DCU doesn't do that. So let's move on to the next news on Ben Affleck. Insists he's still playing Batman because, of course, there was that rumor that came out right before Comic-Con from the Hollywood Reporter that said that Ben Affleck was potentially on his way out because they were going to write his character. They were going to write Ben Affleck's Batman off gracefully. That was the wording they used. But speaking to Entertainment Weekly, and during the panel, he pretty much insisted that he's still Batman and that at first he said that he was signed on only to do 3 movies, which I don't think anyone knew that was the case because it didn't mention how many movies he was signed on for. But then he mentioned that he was happy doing it and that he was going to play Batman as long as they wanted it. And when this rumor came out, I mentioned on the podcast, because it came out late last week and I still was able to add it to the podcast. I said that I hope they don't get rid of Ben Affleck, because I think he's a great addition to the DCEU, but if they do pass on the mantle to Batman, I think that would be a better idea. Pass out to someone else and then keep Bruce Wayne similar to like a Tony Stark. I don't want to mention DC and Marvel and all that stuff, but keep him around. Keep him around to be like in the background. Have him pop up like in special appearances.
This would actually be a good way to introduce Terry McGinnis.
And that was a name that everyone started dropping.
Yeah, this is because he's a popular character for the reason that he wasn't in the comics when the show came out, but the show was a hit. It was
Batman Beyond, for those who don't know.
Oh, damn good show. You should check it out. It's a good successor to the previous Batman animated series. And then afterwards he started having his own comics and whatnot. But yeah, if they rid off Ben Affleck's Batman from the films, that would be a good way to introduce Terry. But I think what they would go with more would probably just get one of the Robins to take over the mantle. There's a bunch of material from the comics to use, like
they could bring Dick Grayson, the first Robin who became Nightwing. Or
use the Battle for the Cowl events, I think, where after getting his back broken by Bane, some of the Robins or other people, they're fighting for the mantle of Batman until eventually Bruce recovers and takes over Batman again. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff they can use. They can use that, so they can use Terry McGinnis from Batman Beyond, which I think would be a really, really cool thing to see.
Unless they do something with Flashpoint that messes everything up, so we'll see. I mentioned last week and I mentioned right now that keep Ben Affleck around because he's one of. And again, this is a rumor. This is just them thinking, speculating, so it could be wrong. But unless they do something stupid like kill him off, which is really, really dumb, and I hope they don't do that. They did announce that there was their lineup, which included, like I mentioned, Flashpoint, Shazam, which we mentioned last week on the podcast, was going to start filming next. Suicide Squad 2, for some reason, the solo Batman movie, Justice League Dark, so they're still moving forward with that. Green Lantern Corp, Batgirl, and Wonder Woman 2. So that's their lineup. Yes.
Justice League dark? I think they're dark enough.
They need to be more dark.
Yeah. It's
Well, they added color to Justice League. Maybe now Justice League Dark will be like good with it.
Oh, that's one of the things I like about what I saw from Wonder Woman is you can see the color of her outfits.
Oh yeah,
it was so like desaturated or very dull in Batman vs Superman. It's like she's wearing dark red and dark blue. It's almost like a black outfit. So she's Wonder Woman, but she doesn't carry the colors.
Especially in the No Man's Land scene. Just that's all I'll say. So let's move on to the Marvel panel. We already talked about a lot about the Thor Ragnarok stuff. In addition to Thor Ragnarok, Clancy Brown, who does a lot of voices for stuff, he'll voice Thor.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh man. Oh, those of you who don't know, his most famous roles.
Didn't he do voices for Justice League?
Yeah.
Right?
I think so. What I know from his career, he was the original voice of Cortex in the Crash Bandicoot games up until Nitro Karts. And he was replaced by Lex Lang, the current Cortex. He did the voice of that I don't recall the character's name, but in the Jackie Chan Adventures, there's this organization that deals with demons, but by using technology. He did the voice of the guy in charge of that organization. Perhaps his most known voice role is Mr. Krabs on SpongeBob.
Oh my God, that's right.
Yeah, that's him. Which is when you take that role, he's done Mr. Krabs. Then he's done the voice of Hades in the God of War 2 and God of War 3. He's done the voice again. So he's done a character that he usually plays villains or
he does. He plays villains or very shady characters or very questionable morals.
Yeah, or you might have even heard him in some car commercials. He's done some of the stuff like that.
Yeah. He's one of those guys where you hear his voice like, oh, that's that guy. Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's who he is. So he's voicing Sator in there. Let's go on to Ant-Man and the Wasp. They announced that Michelle Pfeiffer will play the original Wasp, at least in the comics, or I guess in the movie too. Janet Van Dyne. So she will play the original Wasp in the movie, and Lawrence Fishburne, aka Morpheus, will be in the movie as well, playing Bill Forster, aka Black Goliath, in the film. So there will be two guys. Probably, I guarantee there will be two people, there will be a giant fight in the movie. So there's that. There's also going to be a character called the Ghost, which will be played by Hannah Jane Kamen. We find out who she's playing. In the comics, he's actually, or she, I guess in this case, is a Iron Man villain who started off as a industrial saboteur before becoming extremely paranoid and delusional to the point where he would, or again, she in this case, would trust and side with whoever best serves the character's interest. So there's that. Randall Park was already announced to play Jimmy Woo, and Walton Goggins will play a character named Sonny Birch. I didn't look up and see if that character was an actual Ant-Man character, but there you go. They did show some footage. Michael Douglas is actually in an updated white Iron Man suit. So that'll be interesting to see.
What?
Yeah, that's what the description said. That's why I was like, what? That doesn't make any sense. They did show Wasp in action, which was pretty cool. Show her flying side by side with Ant-Man, who was flying, of course, on top of an ant. So there you go.
Yeah, she's not going to be in Infinity War, is she?
I don't believe she's going to be in Infinity War. At least yet. She'll probably be in part 2. I mean, they can't have everyone in part 1 because that would just be like...
I know, but she's an important part of the Avengers. Those of you who don't know, the Avengers, I guess the core team, it's always been Cap, Iron Man, Hulk, Thor, Ant-Man or Giant Man or whichever
name he goes by.
Hank Pym.
Yeah.
Dr. Hank Pym and Wasp.
And her, yeah.
It's always been them. It's up until I think some years back, especially recently with live action films, that Wasp was kind of replaced by Black Widow as the chick of the group.
Yeah.
So it's I'm glad they're finally bringing her into they're bringing her out as part of the team or as her own character. I was kind of disappointed that it wasn't Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne. That's going to be, I guess, the characters doing the superheroics. Because
I mean, if he's wearing a suit, you know they're gonna put her in her suit too.
yeah, I'm
Like
just
you know
saying,
they're saving that. Like it's gonna be like one of those moments where like, oh.
I mean, the two characters have their dynamics. They always have relationship issues. Like Hank Pym and Janet Van Dyne, they're always having marriage problems, which I guess is one of the reasons they didn't use them. Instead, used Scott Lang and Hope Van Dyne, which I don't believe she's in the comics. I'm not sure.
I think they changed her name from the comics. I think she is from the comics. I think they just changed names.
Maybe.
From what I remember.
That's something I don't know.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean, I just mentioned the dynamic between Hank and Janet would have been something kind of.
That'd be pretty hard
to see.
Put that on screen and be like, hey, because if you don't know, I'm not gonna spoil it for you. You should go read it on your own. If you look up Ant-Man, Hank Pym, and the Wasp, her name I already forgot it. I just read it.
Janet.
Look that up and put controversy next to it, and you will find a crap ton of things that will surprise you. For a comic book.
Think of those couples or neighbors that you have that are always fighting and arguing. That's kind of the relationship. But again, I guess that's why they didn't use those characters and instead use Scott and Hope.
Which is fine.
Yeah. It just there's a lot of happy-ish relationships in MCU. I just thought it would have been interesting to see a troubled relationship.
Just that one. I'm sure they'll have like flashbacks and
that. Maybe.
If they bring that up, I will be very surprised and I will applaud Marvel for going that far.
Yeah, because it's even though in the comics and whatnot they're always having these troubles, they still stick together.
Yeah.
So it's like, think of any marriage or married couple you know that always you look at them and think, why are they even still together? Past their arguments and whatnot, they still connected. They still stick around with each other. That's what I think. It would have been a cool relationship to portray on film. But I see why they wouldn't use them. Awesome. I'm just glad Wasp is coming into the MCU. I hope she's in part 2 of Infinity War, because that way you can have the entire core Avengers team.
I'm sure she'll get mentioned. She has to get mentioned. Because at this point, she'd probably already have to have some training in the Wasp suit. Like, you're not going to put her in the Wasp suit, like, in this movie for the first time.
Yeah.
Like with Scott.
Probably be a better fighter than Scott.
Oh, she already is.
Yeah.
So let's move on. Captain Marvel. It's been a while since we heard anything really official. We now know that the movie will take place in the 90s, making this the second Marvel movie to be set in the past, and that Samuel L. Jackson will return to play Nick Fury with 2 eyes. How about that? And also the villains. It's going to be the long-awaited screen debut of the Skrulls. They will be playing the villains. They did release some concept art, which looked really cool. I saw the concept art first before reading what it was, and I'm like, what the hell is she fighting? And then I saw that it was going to be the Skrulls. I was like, oh, that's awesome. So there you go. Skrulls,
one to be reckoned with.
One of probably the famous villains for the Avengers and for the Fantastic Four. But we're not talking about the Fantastic Four. We're talking about Avengers. So this is pretty cool, and everyone's already starting to throw Secret Invasion speculation,
which could lead into this idea that people that a lot of the actors of the current Avengers, they want to move on to other stuff, so they can bring in legacy characters.
This would be a good way to do that.
Yeah. Oh man, I can't wait for all the stupid jokes people are gonna make. I already saw one where someone said that no one's gonna see the film because only 90s kids will be able to remember it. Stupid stuff like that.
You gotta love the internet. By the way, Skrulls, for those guys who don't know, and the reason why we're bringing up Secret Invasion is a storyline where the Skrulls, who have the ability to shapeshift into characters, shapeshift into characters from the Avengers, and start and a bunch of other characters as well, like Nick Fury, I think was one, and a bunch of other ones, and it just leads to this whole, I don't want to say civil war, because they already did a civil war. It was just a lot of infighting and a lot of untrustworthy alliances that were put together because of the Skrulls. It's a very big storyline. I don't want to say they're gonna do it, but bringing in the Skrulls does lead to that question.
To give an idea of how big of a deal these Skrulls are, they always show up as a major threat in X-Men,
that's right,
general Marvel comics like Avengers and whatnot, Fantastic Four. So as I mentioned, they're a force to be reckoned with for a reason. So to have them bring in, think of the Chitauri, only
who everyone thought was the Skrulls.
Yeah,
when that
but
came
they weren't. Think of the Chitauri in terms of this alien army force that can devastate if you don't fight back. Only the Skrulls, they can shapeshift. I would say they're more intelligent than the Chitauri, because the Chitauri were like cyborgs connected to.
They were just minion. There was just minions.
You destroy the mothership, you disconnect the Chitauri. They're done. The Skrulls, they're
Skrulls
they're not like that.
They're not fucking around. Yeah, I like it. But of course, adding the Skrulls in this movie being set in the 90s, of course, leads to questions: where has she been?
Oh, this could be
Skrulls.
This could play into so much with the shapeshifting in the films right now. Maybe
people were already saying that maybe Nick Fury is a Skrull. I saw that online today. I was like, you gotta be kidding me.
Shoot, maybe what was his name? That guy that killed the scientist that made the super soldier serum. Maybe he was a Skrull.
Oh,
yeah. There's a lot they can work with it just with the shapeshifting alone.
Especially if this movie being based in the 90s. So I mean, that's gonna be interesting. Yeah. Captain Marvel opens on March 8th, 2019. So we're looking for that. And the final Marvel panel tidbits was Black Panther. They showed off some more footage. They showed off a scene that we do see in the teaser. It's a scene that takes place in a casino. So it's Black Panther and his crew, the Dora Milaje, I think that's pronounce it. The characters of Diana Gurira, I butchered her name. Denai Gurira, there we go. A.K.A. Michonne from The Walking Dead. She plays one of the guards. And Lupita Nyong'o's character. So they're with him, and they go to a club, and they see Ulysses Klaue there, and they see Martin Freeman's character, Everett Ross, there, who was introduced in Civil War. Apparently, Klaue and Ross are having a meeting because Everett has uranium, or something like that. He has something, uranium. I wrote down uranium on my notes here.
I think it was in vibranium.
Or vibranium. Uranium, vibranium, one of the two. He has something that Klaue wants to buy. And the deal goes wrong because Michonne, I'm just going to call her Michonne, gets a little antsy and wants to take her out, and then just apparently the description was chaos. And apparently they were throwing spears at one point, there was gunshots, and then there's a little mini fight between Klaue and T'Challa and Black Panther, where Ulysses shows off his laser gun arm. That's going to be in the movie. And then they show a bunch of montages, shots of car chases, Black Panther flipping over a car, which again we see in the first teaser, skydiving apparently, and then the teaser ends with Black Panther face to face with the villain of the movie, Michael B. Jordan's character Killmonger, who mocks Black Panther a little bit before putting on, I shit you not, his own Black Panther-esque costume, which apparently I read another report is gold. I don't know if that was right. So he has his own Black Panther costume, and the two start fighting, and then they fall into a pit. Where does that pit lead? Who knows? That's where the footage ended. The footage said it was really good. It got a standing ovation. Black Panther opens on February 16th, 2018. What do you think?
Looked good. It looks real good. Black Panther was, I think, one of the more dangerous characters introduced in Civil War, because he didn't lose a single fight and he was always on top of everything.
I don't care.
Yeah. I think the only time he was knocked out was when Giant Man destroyed some rubble nearby him and he dodged. So you know what he's capable of just from what you've seen Civil War. Now he's going to be in his own solo film. It's you know what to expect in terms of his fighting potential. As for the characters around him, supporting cast, opposing cast, antagonist.
And cast is great.
Yeah, the actors that they've casted, very good reputation, filmography and whatnot. So there's very little to doubt. I'm personally not too familiar with Black Panther's history, so I can't comment too much on that. But just from the casting alone, it looks like it's a promising looking movie. And I'm wondering how it's going to lead into the events of later films.
I think they said that it was going to be its own little self-contained story with some very little crossover. So it should be interesting to kind of see how that works out.
I've always said Black Panther is the closest Marvel can currently ever have in terms of having Wolverine. They're both two guys that use claws and they're dangerous. So he's like Black Panther is the closest it can have for their portrayal of Wolverine, just in that regard.
Yeah,
so
that's kind of true.
But he's his own character. He's really. I like how he's a prince and he's also the Black Panther warrior. But he mentions it in Civil War. It's not something that goes hand in hand. You're the king, but you also have to be worthy of the Black Panther role. You don't get that title just because you're king. So you can be the most badass king, I guess, in Wakanda, but you're still not good enough to be Black Panther until you're good enough, I guess. So I'm definitely looking forward to the culture they're gonna have, because they're drawing from a lot of cultures from the African region. There's one culture in particular they're drawing inspiration from the outfits. But I'm looking forward to seeing how they depict Wakanda, because they mention it. You think Africa, you think this poor third world country, which is
not completely true. There are parts of Africa,
but it's a far cry from what Africa really is in a lot of regions. So I like the idea that people, even in the film universe of the MCU, they think Africa is this poor place, and it's not too important to really concern yourself over what's going on over there.
Yeah, because there's that bit in the trailer. It's like, what do you think of Wakanda? It's like, it's like small village, like beads and stuff.
But no, that's all the fronts, and they have all this. They have the tech to make the Black Panther suits, which is lined with vibranium.
The advanced technology country.
Yeah, they have medicine. They have ships that rival those of Stark Tech,
Quinjets and everything like that.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to seeing how that plays out.
I'm really looking forward to it too. It's definitely one of those movies that I think everyone's gonna go crazy about, especially if some of that footage even gets out. If everyone's gonna be crazy for it. So, I'm looking forward to it too. So that's it. That's all we got. That's all the big Comic-Con news I want to talk about.
You want to talk about Infinity War?
Yeah. You know what? Let's talk about Infinity War. I wasn't going to talk about Infinity War, but they did show the footage, which is the same footage they showed at D23. But, of course, being Comic-Con, someone leaked out the footage. I did not watch it because I like Captain America tells me at the end of Spider-Man Homecoming in that post-credits scene, I have patience. I hate myself for having patience, but I have patience.
I can respect that.
I did see a few screenshots though, because people post stuff online, Instagram. So I did see a few shots. I did see Thanos, and I did see there's a part in the stuff where he's crushing Thor's head. I did see the Doctor Strange helping Star-Lord jump from whatever it was. But yeah, you said you saw the whole thing. So what was it like?
The description, it definitely lives up to what the online descriptions say about just how crazy it is. I mean, you think they've done a lot of stuff. They're always doing the next best thing, besting themselves, I guess. And Infinity War looks like it's going to be just that next level of out of this world craziness. Because I think the craziest thing that the trailer shows that people describe, there's a scene where Thanos,
when he grabs the fucking moon. When I read that, I was like,
moon.
No.
And he throws it at the Avengers. I mean, you don't see the Avengers when where's it gonna run?
Yeah,
there's stuff
you
like
can't
that.
escape a moon.
So this guy, he can bend reality and whatnot to his will. How are they gonna fight him? Because I think the best thing they have to fight him is Thor and Hulk. And you see Thor, struggling, or he's under he's getting his head crushed. There's the Iron Spider suit for Spider-Man.
Yeah, saw that.
It's not that different in appearance. It's not that different from his
regular suit, right? I saw that screenshot. Yeah.
Yeah, it just looks a little more. You can tell it's more it's armor, just how the detail, the texture, there's like a shine to it.
Yeah.
And it has a big black spider logo with some gold lining around
the gold outline, right? Yeah.
Yeah, so it's not visually. It's the same one you see in Homecoming. It's not too visually different, but it is. But it's someone like a Spider-Man, Iron Man suit. It's an Iron Spider, so it's going to be capable of a lot more than what Peter's other suit is capable of, which is already a lot. It's cool to finally see this something that Marvel started 10 years ago.
10 years ago, yeah.
They finally reached this point. The culmination of everything they've worked at.
That's crazy to think. It's 10 years ago. 16 movies so far.
Yeah.
And they still have Black Panther coming out, which would be Thor, Black Panther, and then Avengers.
Avengers and Ant-Man and Wasp in between.
Ant-Man and Wasp in between. Yeah. It's just...
So all these films have been leading up to this. Finally, you're going to see Thanos show his face. You're going to see the Avengers, the Guardians of the Galaxy coming together. You're going to... everyone's going to come together to fight this big threat, and it's going to be a major event in the film universe for whatever films come afterwards. So when the trailer was leaked, it was almost impossible to find them. Some more people starting uploading footage from a different angle.
Yeah.
That was up for about 2 minutes before you would click on the tweets or whatever social media you use, and you would get a description that says playback error, or this video can't be played due to restrictions in your country or something.
Or whatever.
Yeah, but
I saw a picture, and I'm not kidding. I saw it on Instagram in the explore section. And I was like, what the hell is that? Someone put it up on Pornhub. I am not kidding. I saw that picture, I was like, you got to be kidding me. And I was reading through the comments like, yep, it was up there. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? Someone put it up there. Okay, I guess that works. Alright. Whatever catches your fancy.
Yeah, they have an audience for that. If you're gonna
most of them are nerds anyway, so...
If you're going to go on there and do your
thing.
Do your self-service business, but, catch the new Avengers trailer, I'm not judging.
And that's what you gotta do. You gotta if you feel a need to go down there to watch a bearded Captain America, do your thing.
Oh, that's one thing I'm wondering about. That has nothing to do with Infinity War as a whole. What's the explanation for Thor and Cap suddenly not being blonde?
Well, I guess with Thor he had his hair cut.
I know,
but maybe underneath all that blonde hair he's got some brown.
Brown rooting.
Captain America. I don't know, Captain America. It's weird because
is the serum running out?
I don't know. It is weird. It's like because his hair wasn't that blonde in the first Captain America movie.
No, yeah,
it had like blonde highlights,
head, yeah.
But he mostly had like the brown hair. And then Winter Soldier came out, and he looked like he got a little more blonde top to us. I mean, Black Widow has blonde hair. She doesn't have the red hair anymore.
I mean, you can justify that with.
And people were saying that it was like, oh, because they're on a run, so they got to change their hair color, which I guess makes sense. But
I guess, yeah, that explains it. But I mean, even with her, like Black Widow, someone said that she could just be changing her hair color. She's a spy, right? She changes her hair color. So yeah, she's used to that. Yeah, it's just kind of weird to me that Cap, is the blonde hair a sign, just why is he losing his color? It's just a stupid thing. I know.
Maybe he's just like, I don't care anymore. I'm going all black or brown or whatever his hair color is. So yeah, there you go, guys. If you've seen it, that's your thing. Go ahead and do it. I will wait. Avengers does come out on May 4th next year. For some reason, I think that's right. May 4th.
May something.
It is. Yeah. No, it is the first week of May because Marvel has been opening up the summer movie season.
Oh yeah, it comes out. Comes out a little bit after where the original Iron Man came out in theaters.
Yeah, so it's gonna be in May. It's gonna be May. Yeah, so it's coming out the first week of May next year. So we'll talk about that. I'm pretty sure we'll get an official trailer in November. I think that's kind of been the word around town. We'll get in November, so probably for Thor, which will make sense, or probably in front of Justice League. So we'll see. One little more dig at Justice League.
Yeah, I'm gonna see Infinity War in IMAX for sure. I saw Homecoming in IMAX. That was my first IMAX experience. Loved it, and I'm definitely gonna do that for Infinity War.
IMAX is awesome. It's cool. It's expensive as hell.
Worth it, though.
But it's fucking worth it for the right movie. I'm not saying you should watch every movie in IMAX. Watch the right movies in IMAX. Marvel movies, you get a chance to watch them in IMAX, watch them in IMAX.
Yeah.
Watch them in IMAX, because they're good. Alright, that's it. Got anything else? You bought Avengers, so that's all right.
No, I think I covered everything I had in mind. Thanks for letting me be on your podcast.
Yeah, you are always welcome. So that's it, guys. Thank you guys so much for listening to the podcast. This is, again, a special Comic-Con podcast. So whenever you're listening to this, thank you for listening. We are on YouTube, SoundCloud, and iTunes. If you're listening on iTunes, go give me a rating, and I will read your your review and also leave me a review. And I'll read your review here on the podcast. Subscribe to the podcast. We will be releasing podcasts every Friday and every beginning of the week. I don't want to say Monday or Tuesday because stuff happens and stuff like that. So do that. Go down below in the description / show notes area for the trailers and for any other little bits of Comic-Con news that got past me, and I'll remind myself to put up there. Also, right down there, my WordPress accounts, there's a written review, non-spoiler written review of Dunkirk. I didn't do a spoiler review of Dunkirk or Valerian like I said I was going to do last week. I didn't even do a review for Valerian. Not because I didn't like it, just because I didn't have time with all the Comic-Con stuff. Stuff happens. Not even stuff. I mean, Comic-Con happens. That's why I haven't done a review. A written review for it anyway. But yeah, that's it. Instagram, Twitter's down there as well. And yeah, go follow, like, subscribe, review, whatever it is, wherever you're listening, whatever best suits your fancy. Facebook page is also down there. Get an early preview of what we're going to talk about at the podcast at the end of the week. That is still happening. Talk about all the movie news, talk about the movie trailers. Well, there hasn't been any movie trailers come out so far. And we'll talk about the movies that are coming out at the end of the week, which include the Emoji Movie and Atomic Blonde. Hint, I've already seen one, and I will be mini reviewing it on the podcast on Friday. So that's it. That's all I got. Thank you guys so much for listening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you once again to Julian for being on the podcast.
Pleasure being here. Maybe, I don't know, maybe more in the future. We'll see.
More in the future? That's always good with two people, and I'll fix the shitty audio for this podcast. But thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
And yeah, that's it. As always, go watch some movies.
Bye now.
Whoop whoop! Yeah! Give it up! Movies!